Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Devin Bartolotta. The city's health director spoke more today about clusters of coronavirus cases involving parties and bars here and in Baton Rouge. This afternoon, City of New Orleans Health Director Dr. Jennifer Avegno spoke about the 30 or so cases centered on graduation parties for one or more schools in New Orleans. She didn't identify those schools, saying the investigation is in its early stages. The city and state have also confirmed 100 cases of young people who visited bars in Baton Rouge.
The myth that young people cannot get sick or seriously ill is completely untrue. More importantly, they can spread it to loved ones and contacts who are at much higher risk.
Dr. Avegno said the clusters were identified mainly because concerned people let health officials know about the event and that people involved were testing positive. She also stressed the importance of providing accurate information to contact tracers from the state if you are called by one of them. At least 30 members of the LSU football team have tested positive for the coronavirus and are now in self-quarantine. That's according to our partners at NOLA.com, as well as a report in Sports Illustrated. Sources told them the total number of cases began with a group of 5 to 6 players, and it originated from a gathering of friends in Baton Rouge. The cases are the first since LSU began voluntary workouts on June 9th. Ricardo will have more details coming up later in sports. This afternoon, the state reported an increase of more than 800 cases. That marks more than 2,000 new cases in just the past 3 days. 20 more deaths were reported since Friday. Orleans, Jefferson, and St. Tammany parishes all saw an increased number of cases in today's numbers. In an effort to discourage large groups from gathering near the lakeshore this Father's Day weekend, a large stretch of Lakeshore Drive is closed to cars. The Flood Protection Authority closed Lakeshore Drive between Seabrook and Canal Boulevard. Although residents will be allowed to access their homes, it will reopen Monday morning.